Hi all, this is the first video I'm doing. My name's Anthony, and the purpose of this channel is very diverse. I'm looking to do basically reviews, discussions about all my interests, which are things that I like. So drinks, whiskey, beer, red wine, music, heavy metal, other forms of music, but metal is my number one. History, science, social issues, political issues, general topics, LARPing. I do tabletop gaming, video gaming. I basically have every hobby you can imagine, even sport. I'm a cisgendered white Australian male, middle class, so I've had a really nice upbringing which has given me time to think and perspectives to look at. I've suffered from some mental health issues in the past, insomnia being the key one there. I'm colorblind. A few other things that have given me a different perspective to some people necessarily, of the world, of reality, and I've always been curious. So essentially I have a passion to learn in every way that I can and on every topic that I can. So everything is interesting to me, and what I'm most interested in at the moment is actually talking to other people and their perspectives on things. I work in a really diverse workplace. We speak, I think, 15 languages in the place where I work with 14 staff, which is awesome. I can't claim any quality there. I just speak Australian, English, and a teeny bit of Japanese. I tried to learn Mandarin and gave up. It's just too hard for someone like myself who only knows tones contextually rather than definitionally. So essentially where we're at, and what brought up this topic today, is the same-sex marriage debate in Australia, which for some reason is still going on. New Zealand, even the United States, Britain, they've all got same-sex marriage. It's enacted, it's fine. Nobody's lives or beliefs were destroyed. Just now people who love each other can get married, which is great and is in fact a human right granted by the UN. So you would think that should have been done a long time ago by a country that typically has been quite progressive. Not the most progressive, but at least up there for human rights here in Australia. So it's a bit of a bugbear for me because I'm obviously for same-sex marriage. But during this debate, that's actually not the main topic. During this debate in Australia, it really brings out in social media, Facebook and such, that people are very quick to judge each other on if they have different opinions, unfriend each other, stop talking, shut down the dialogue, which is not conducive, or productive to anybody. Nobody learns anything if you don't talk to people with different opinions. So the diversity in my workplace has been great. I've learned a lot talking to people who are from growing up in Russia, China, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, America, Sudan. It's fantastic. So I'm learning so much faster, learning different perspectives from people from different backgrounds, and it's absolutely fascinating. So that's a big thing for me. In my family growing up, we were always happy to have a debate, and no one's feelings were necessarily hurt by the end of the debate. It could be a very passionate, heated debate, but it was always just a discussion. We often learnt things, we often butted heads quite loudly, which for us wasn't a problem. If there were some guests around or spouses that weren't used to that kind of family environment, it could be a bit standoffish, but they get to know us, they know that obviously we're okay with that and that no one's actually angry at each other, it's just impassioned debate. And that's been a great environment growing up because it taught me that other people's opinions are worth discussing. Wasn't always easy. There were times when I held a strong view and I didn't listen to other people, or I just didn't understand other people liking different things. So when I was a young fella getting into heavy metal and jazz and classical, I would consider good music, I was often ranting, raving, why are people listening to rap? What the hell is this? It's so bad. It's a different skill set. I don't find it as musically appealing. But while I was going off one time, my elder brother said, dude, why do you care? People can like different things. Doesn't hurt you in any way. And that was a really good thing for him to pull me up on, because straight away didn't take me long to realize I was being an ass. And of course, people can like different things. How does it harm me for somebody to listen to, I don't know, Eminem? It took me a while to think of a rapper. So that was an important point, that as a young fellow I hadn't considered, that even though by what objective measures there are, some music's more complex. Complex isn't necessarily quality, right? So there's lots of discussion there, and it didn't matter. The point is, even if something is trash, you can like trash. It can be delicious. Raccoons love trash. It's great. Ibises, trash chickens. Right. So it's a bit of a shiny joke there. So essentially, what's been great last night and today was a friend of mine from up in Sydney who posted a discussion about same-sex marriage, but rather than just their opinion or aggressively stating it, the post was essentially, do not unfriend me. I want to hear your opinion, whatever it is. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss it civilly. Let's discuss it with respect. I want to learn from you, and I want to understand your opinion as much as we can. Let's share ideas. That's been great. A lot of the posts were positive responses to that whole ethos, that message, because it's so rare. And that's the sort of thing that some of my friends have been discussing face to face that there's not enough of. And just I hadn't seen, it was the first one I saw, first post I saw where someone had just come out and done it. Now the comments or so, about 165 of them so far, have been great. So I got involved there as well, refuting a few other people's assertions with some data and some facts, because I'm a data and facts kind of guy. And also, obviously, how I interpret those facts, because that's always a thing. Fact alone isn't necessarily important. It's how you interpret and read from that. So, but by and large, the whole discussion was very respectful and lovely. Plenty of people there that I knew, at least in a small way, where we could have a bit of a mutual ground because we knew each other, but other people who I didn't know, everyone was still very, very civil. And I learnt or encountered some different viewpoints and different opinions that I hadn't even considered before. So that was a great learning experience for me. So I found it really enriching. I hope a lot of other people did. There was lots of positivity there from people on all sides of the discussion as to how healthy that is to do, and that we don't do that enough. And I think that's very, very true. Not just in a social context between people who know each other and their circles of friends like on Facebook, but very importantly in political circles and media. It's all case of media profit driven, so it's very sensational and intentionally inflammatory. So people get used to hearing those kinds of discussions, and that ends up getting people used to that, and they shut down. And that's no good. We're seeing a very strong, there was a few studies I was reading the other day, where people get into an echo chamber. So with the smart systems they have, subscription services, and the way internet metrics feed you stuff that you're interested in, basically presents only articles that support your viewpoints. It's terrible. You're not going to learn anything, only hearing yourself. And it's going to potentially reinforce very toxic or incorrect opinions for people whose opinions might be dangerous to others. So separating people into camps through the media streams is going to continuously reinforce that attitude that you can make an inflammatory comment and that's the right way to present an idea is terrible. I'm guilty of it plenty of times. I'm a bit of a shit talker because sometimes it's fun amongst friends who get it, that you don't necessarily believe that, and you're doing it for a bit of fun. Australians have for those of you who don't know, we take the piss a lot out of each other, out of our closest friends, but you don't do that on a public forum. You don't do that to people you don't know because they don't know how you're meaning it, particularly on a text-based forum where you haven't got tone, so you can't sarcastically give someone shit because they might think you're actually giving them shit, and that's just not nice. So don't do it. Gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but there needs to be a lot more open forum and support for open forums where people can discuss things without ridicule, because no one wants to put their hand up and talk about an opinion that they feel might come back to bite them. And then the problem is there nobody learns anything. And then we're not going to move forward as a global society, or certainly not in Australia, where at the moment we've got a bunch of useless self-interested idiots in Parliament on all sides, who literally have no idea what they're doing and don't know what the Australian people need or want. Just to give you a bit of a frame of reference, there's a same-sex marriage thing, but we're now on UN sanction lists because of our human rights abuses for refugees coming in. Now, for those of you who don't know, detention refugees that try to enter Australia on boat offshore in places owned by New Guinea or other islands around Australia, and the conditions are terrible, worse than prison. I think Guantanamo Bay sort of kind of stuff. Now the problem with that, one of the many problems with that, is that it's illegal internationally. They're essentially setting them up with a bogus temporary protection visa, which guarantees they'll never actually come into Australia. So we're going to be basically imprisoning these people forever, and they haven't done anything wrong. So when that happened, when they enacted those policies, they used the media to drum up a lot of fear of terrorists. Somewhat legitimate fear in some places in the world, not so much in Australia. We've had no real acts of terrorism. Plenty of unhealthy people causing violence, but no things you could really point your finger and go, that was definitely terrorism. Not politically agendaed anyway. So, but to give you some facts here, for example, our head of our intelligence agency in a recent government inquest where they ask him questions and get some information from him, specifically asked, isn't it true that refugees from these areas present a risk of terrorism? And he flat out categorically stated there is zero evidence to support that position. So straight away I'm thinking, so why are we imprisoning these people? You sold it to us, that was because they're terrorists. There's a risk to the country that we're bringing in dangerous people if we allow these refugees into the country. Now, the head of our intelligence agency says that's bullshit. There's no evidence that supports that boat entering refugees are terrorists or increase the risk of a terror attack here on Australian land. So that's a bit odd. It didn't get much play in media because it doesn't fit their spin, but is pretty telling. Just recently, thanks to the leaky sieve that is the White House at the moment, they actually leaked the manuscripts, or the transcripts, of the first phone call between Trump and our Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, which was famously a pretty stressful conversation between both parties, which a lot was to do with a previous agreement with the Obama administration, whereby we would give them some of the refugees that we were housing offshore in exchange for some refugees from Central and South America, or political prisoners. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that was, because it didn't seem to be a net change in number of people that we were abusing, but hey, what can you do? So that was an agreement that was held. Turnbull wanted to confirm that that was still on the cards. Trump didn't want a part of it. He kept saying, these people are dangerous people, otherwise you wouldn't have them in prison. And Turnbull said, no, they're fine. They've all been vetted. They're not terrorists. You can vet them as well. They're fine. They're not terrorists. So Trump says, so why have you got them in prison? Turnbull says, we have a policy. If you try to enter the country by boat, doesn't matter if you're Nobel Prize winner. We put you in detention forever. How is this not major news? You just have a leader of a country stating that they are imprisoning people forever, even though we know they're fine. What the actual fuck? Seriously, this is an adult, human, wealthy, educated, who doesn't seem to get that it's not okay to take away people's freedom, rights, and physically and emotionally abuse them and their families just because they tried to escape a dangerous zone. So there you go. Australia used to be pretty progressive. Now we abuse human rights, and you can't marry a dude if you're a dude, or a lady if you're a lady. So that's all a bit shit. But that's my opinion. If you have different opinions, discuss it openly, respectfully. Don't mind a bit of swearing, obviously, but keep it open. Keep your brain open, keep your mind open, and let's all learn something. Thanks for listening. Cheers.